It's the Eastside Fantasy Football Podcast. Today is Tuesday, November 22nd, Week 11 wrapping up. Nick Testoni, as always, rejoined, briefly,
Finally.
still in the dumps, but rejoined by Joe Briner, who's fighting off the Black Plague.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Long story short, I had sore throat, sickness for about a week and a half. Felt good for about the weekend, and then last night had a fever, body aches. Woke up today with a nice fever. Have a fever. Struggled through school, but yeah, I don't know what's going on. I've never been sick like this before in my life, so now it's going on 2 weeks on and off of pain. But I'm alive, thank goodness.
Well, it's a holiday week, Joe. We won't have an episode
Yep.
on Saturday. Actually, I might put out a solo thing, just a preview, but no full show for the rest of the week. Obviously, we're going to enjoy our nice Thanksgiving break, and that'll be into week 12. But we will preview the Thursday. I'll preview the Thursday games on Thanksgiving later in this podcast. A lot of bad football this week. A lot of stars that didn't do damn thing.
A lot of Tylers this week.
Oh, yeah. A couple trades to talk about in our league. And then, you know how it goes. We just keep rolling. So let's get right into the news, Joe. Matt Stafford was concussed. I think I was listening to it, and he got the personal concussion spotter, I think, had a conversation with him, and they took him into the locker room, and that was pretty much his day. And he left in the third quarter, did not return. It was already looking bleak without Cooper Kupp, and now this offense looked even worse.
I don't think he's technically, I saw on the app that he's technically not in concussion protocol. They're going through the process of figuring out if they need to put him into protocol. So it's a weird situation, but he didn't play last week, and it was weird. So I'd be surprised if he plays this upcoming week, to be honest.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that. Or I'll talk about that game later. I mean, God, the
Rams are toast, I think.
Weird.
They're
and
toast.
By the way, Cam Akers got 14 carries.
Yeah, I know. He's back. He is so back.
Mike
Williams.
Williams.
Running game's just terrible.
Yeah, Mike Williams' ankle left the game in the second quarter, did not return. It really sucked because I have him in another league. I've been waiting for him to come back. I have him, Jamar Chase. And it almost felt like if that was... Because he went off and made a really nice catch on the sideline and hurt himself. If that was what happened, why was he back that early then?
Yeah, I was surprised that him and Keenan Allen played. Keenan Allen looked pretty good, to be honest. Had him on a snap count, but he still looked good. Mike Williams, like you said, made that one catch where he had to jump up super high, came down. I don't know if he came down awkwardly because it didn't look weird, but I know he came up limping. So it was kind of surprising to see him, even in the game, if just him jumping and landing on it was going to kick him back out. You would have assumed that he's not going to play if that was the only thing that could knock him out.
I mean, he really just went up and made a Mike Williams type play. It was just a 50-50 ball. He went up and caught it, and that, you would have thought, he'd be fine, but he's not.
Yeah.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire, ankle. He was declared out at halftime. He was already, his snap counts were going down, and now he's hurt. And Isaiah Pacheco looked good, although if he's PPR, he doesn't catch passes, and he didn't score a touchdown. So, I mean, he still looks promising. He's just going to need to get in the end zone for you to really have a boom week for him.
Yeah, I think it's tough, too, because it seems as if when Kansas City gets into the red zone that they're not really looking to run. They're usually doing some sort of gadget-type play or Patrick Mahomes rolling out and finding somebody open. So, I mean, it's good for him to get the volume that he has been getting recently, but like you said, no passing game, and they would have to find the end zone to really make it a big day. So, it's a weird situation, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, CH really wasn't a part of serious work in the backfield, but now even less if he's going to miss time. Justin Fields hurt his shoulder at the end of the game. I think it was probably... I don't know if it was the last hit or it was a part of one of the last two series. He was taking some big hits, and status unclear. I would think he's fine to play. I mean, he's got a whole week.
Yeah, I think they said he's day-to-day at the moment, which can mean anything. Anytime we've heard day-to-day, sometimes that actually means day-to-day, and sometimes that means he's missing weeks. Like James Conner was day-to-day for 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, it was. Just like to say also to Justin Fields, he... guy on this podcast, Sam Smith, the stat man, he exclaimed to the world he's not going to run this week. 0 for 1.
He did.
0 for 1. We'll get to more of Sam's great picks this week. Joe Mixon concussion and now returned to the game. Samaje Perine scored 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, my goodness. Against me, too. Luckily, it didn't matter, but still.
You'll see Samaje Perine appears on a list coming up soon, but
couple
No,
more
he
lists.
definitely will be picked up in a lot of leagues, especially if Joe Mixon's going to miss extended time with a concussion. Kyle Pitts' knee, he was actually just put on IR.
Yep.
So he could be done for the year.
Probably will be. I guess Atlanta's making a playoff push though, so if he's able to come back, but I think that they're assuming he's probably going to need surgery. So odds are with this timeline that I wouldn't project him to be back, even though they are trying to make a push, because I know that they are tied for first, I think, in the division with the Bucks right now. So, but with him going on IR, probably surgery. I know it's an MCL. I don't see him coming back at all this year.
Kadarius Toney. Now, okay, let me go on a rant real quick, Joe.
Yep.
Kadarius Toney, hamstring, left the game in the first half, did not return. I don't even think he was targeted. He was out there running routes, but nothing happened. And you know what? I blame myself, Joe, because I had confidence. I thought to myself,
I thought it was going to be a smash.
Here it is. He was my start of the week. Big old goose. I'm sure we'll talk about that earlier, but I have a brand new soundbite that I could not wait to use. I'll use it for a couple guys. And really, Kadarius Toney, this is my words.
Thank you. Fuck you. Bye.
That's all I have for him.
That is great.
So, Kadarius Toney, get out of my life. I don't know how you start him with confidence ever again this year.
No, I mean, Juju's going to come back because he only had a concussion. MVS wasn't involved at all, but at the same time, Kadarius Toney, who we thought was going to be somebody with the absence of Juju Smith-Schuster that was going to step up into this role, and he didn't even before the injury, so you can't really put it all on the injury either. That's not like you said he had 0 targets. It's not like he was getting involved before the hamstring injury.
Wan'Dale Robinson, finally it looked like he was breaking out.
I know,
he
had
tears
a crazy
ACL
game.
Out for the year.
Yeah, that one sucks just because he was having a breakout game. Daniel Jones threw the ball the most he has the entire year, I think, in this game. And Wan'Dale Robinson was the big beneficiary of that. And then he tears his ACL, just kind of how the passing game goes in New York. Nobody really seems to be that guy, unless Darius Slayton has been kind of getting it done for the last few weeks. But I don't think Daniel Jones is going to be throwing the ball as much as he did this past week anymore this season, because they want to give the ball to Saquon Barkley, but I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see how serious the Giants are about this playoff push, because then I think this means you got to go get Odell. Yeah. Just also looking, did they just say something about Mike Williams?
Yes, they did.
He aggravated his high ankle sprain, but is not considered significant, and they'll know more in the coming days. So I guess a little bit of optimism. Yeah. But like I said, the Giants now really down to the bare bone, because Kenny Galladay's out there getting cheered for just making a catch by the Giants fans. And I wonder if this maybe pushes the needle where they go out and try to make a serious attempt for Odell, but tough to tell. We'll know more in the coming days, obviously. We got some trades to break down. Hit the sound.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
All right, little trade talk here. Real quick one. Bryce.
Some weird ones, to be honest, I'm going to say.
So this is how this went. Bryce decided to grab another Kansas City
Chief
player. Bryce gets Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who's a bum anyways. I didn't really see. I saw like about half the game last night. Did he do anything? I don't think he did.
I don't think so. I don't even know if he got a point, to be honest.
Perfect.
He had one catch for 18 yards.
There you go. That's dynamite.
Yep.
And Jackson, in return, got Rashaan Evans, a linebacker, I believe. So.
Yep, I think he's like the number 2 linebacker for fantasy this year, so it makes sense that we traded wide receiver 54 for him. It's a good
dynamite.
Yep.
Next one. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have anything to say about that trade? Because I didn't.
No, not necessarily. I know Soup made me laugh because he was like, "All right, we're just still making Jackson's team the greatest team of all time." So that made me laugh. But at the same time, I don't really care. I mean, I guess Bryce was just looking for a wide receiver because I know he has some injuries. He had Mike Evans on bye, but I mean, he had Donovan Peoples-Jones, who has scored double-digit points like 6 weeks in a row, just sitting on his bench.
Speaking of Donovan Peoples-Jones, let's also throw out there that he did not outscore Amari Cooper.
No, he did not.
Second one wrong for Sam Smith.
A neutral site Amari Cooper is different.
I was on it real early.
Yeah, I was on I think he was my sit because I didn't know that this was going to be changing at the time that I made the doc. He was my sit, and then I have it on here. Neutral site Amari Cooper is clearly that dude.
The next trade, Andy traded. I think Andy had made maybe one trade in 4 years, and
And
now
he's
he's
made
made
like
3
4 or 5. I
this
feel like he's
year.
made
Paris
yeah, he's
Campbell
made
goes
3.
to
You're right.
Derek for Cole Kmet coming back to Andy. I think this is a pretty even deal.
Yeah, there's nothing really to scoff at here, but at the same time, it does suck a little bit for Andy considering he traded for Cole Kmet, plugged him in, and then he has 2 tight ends on his bench that doubled Cole Kmet's fantasy output this week. So I'm sure that one didn't feel great for Andy to have him plugged in. Dawson Knox, Juwan Johnson, 7 for 70 for Dawson Knox, 3 for 47 and a touchdown for Juwan Johnson. Then Cole Kmet was only 3 for 35. So
yeah,
that one bites. But the trade itself, there's nothing really to.
Yeah, I mean, pretty fair deal. I mean, I think both guys have a lot of upside for the rest of the year. And then Sam Smith and Spano have made 2 deals. Let me dissect the first one.
All right.
The first one is a foreign exchange program that has ran out. At the very beginning of the year, Kyle Pitts was traded for James Robinson, and now they're being sent back.
Even though Kyle Pitts is now on IR.
Yeah, and James Robinson really hasn't done anything. So
I mean, but at the same time, I mean,
yeah,
you're trading a player that's on IR. How is that like?
I
don't
know.
I don't really care that much, but I do know that I think Sam is a little smarter than he's trying to. I mean, not that Sam was like dumb. I don't mean that in any way, but at the same time, I'm well aware of James Robinson's playoff schedule. Not that James Robinson is going to take over this backfield, but it's possible. And if you look at his playoff schedule, it's Detroit, Jacksonville, and Seattle, all underperforming defenses that James Robinson can likely run on. So that's another point to highlight of why I don't think that this trade should be allowed. It just doesn't make sense. You're trading a player that is injured, probably out for the rest of the season, for a player that is alive and well.
Well, I don't know about well, but he's alive.
Yeah, he's alive at the very least.
Yeah. And then the other one they did, I guess you can.
I mean, it's another weird one.
It might start a riot in the streets of Camden, New Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, it's Sam Smith will get Josh Allen because Spano, for some reason, is looking to trade Josh Allen every week. And on the flip side, Spano is going to get Tyler Algier, just stud back workhorse, and also Justin Herbert, underperforming QB 16 at the moment. So that trade is another good one for both sides. Spano, if you really think about both of these trades, I think Spano's coming out on top. So if anything, we should be making sure these don't happen for Spano because we don't want him to really fight back and get that playoff push.
Well said.
Yep.
Next thing, let's go to our irrelevant TDs of the week.
Who in the blue hell are you?
Yeah, short list, but impressive list. Yeah. LA Rams, Tutu Atwell.
Just a bomb touchdown.
It was, yeah.
His only catch of the game, and it was like a 16-point play or something like that.
Yeah. I didn't know who that. Well, I mean, I know the name, but when I did see this touchdown, and I thought, is that Van Jefferson? I had no idea who that was.
Tutu.
Oh, Tutu Atwell, of course.
Atwell.
Couple of Giants. Richie James scores 0.5% of leagues. Who else is going to score a touchdown in the receiving game up there? Nobody.
Yep.
At this point. And then Matt Breida, 1.2% of leagues. It was a real tough day for Saquon Barkley. And Matt Breida, how about that? Would you ever think he would come in and take a goal line?
Very, very strange. I do think that Richie James' roster percentage is going to go way up, considering Wan'Dale Robinson is out. Richie James was kind of playing that role earlier on in the season, and I do believe he had. I'd have to look it up, but I do believe he was decently fantasy relevant the first few weeks. Yeah, I mean, 5 for 6 for 59, 5 of 6 for 51. 4 or 5 for 36. I mean, 11, 10, and 8 fantasy points the first 3 weeks until Wan'Dale Robinson came back, and then Richie James kind of fell off the face of the earth. So maybe, I mean, I'm not obviously freaking out to go pick him up, but at the same time, I would assume that his roster percentage will go up after this.
Next up, from Philadelphia, Quez Watkins. Tough game for the Philly offense. Quez Watkins is the wide receiver who scores 0.4% of leagues. Thank you, Marquez. And then a couple of Bengals to round it out. Samaje Perine scored 3 touchdowns, a real monster compared to the majority of people who get on this list. 3.8% of leagues. Woo! Goodness. That is a mountain. But he will definitely be going up with Joe Mixon in concussion protocol. And then
Yep.
Trent Irwin, the wide receiver we all want. He scored. He's just a 0. Big
Yep.
fat 0.
Yep. I mean, that was his first catch he had was his first catch of his career, I believe. And I know he scored a touchdown. I mean, he had a decent day, but Jamar Chase coming back, there's nothing to see here, to be honest.
Yeah, and it was a bad day for, I guess he'll be in Soups, or Tyler's, excuse me, so I might ruin it. But, you know,
Tyler Boyd.
Tyler Boyd.
Yeah.
And I don't think, did T. Higgins or Tyler Boyd score? I don't think so.
No, T. Higgins didn't score, but he was like
He had a good
9 for
day.
100, 9 for 148.
But he didn't get the touchdown.
No, he did not get a touchdown. He was my start of the week also.
And then I know for a fact Tyler Boyd was a gooser until about, I think, the last drive.
Yep, he caught one decent catch, and then I think he might have got 2 by the end of it. Yeah, 2 for 42. I think the first catch was like 30 some yards, and then had just a nice little chunk play after that. Yeah, I mean, T. Higgins seemed to be targeted like Devontae Adams-esque, where he was getting all the targets, all the yards throughout the game.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the Soups of the week.
You like that? You like that?
Yeah, we do have one guy in the Soups here, got over 40 points for us. For our league, I believe he just got to 40 points. I don't think in other leagues he really got there because we have the bonuses, Tony Pollard on a bench. That's the hard part. Atkins still looking for a win, I believe, this week, but at the same time, he does have 40 points sitting on the bench. Tony Pollard, 6 for 109 in the air, 15 for 80 on the ground with 2 touchdowns in the air. Just absolutely went off. The next guy, you just mentioned him, Samaje Perine, start of the week for Diego, finding the end zone 3 times. These guys all scored 30 points. Samaje, Josh Palmer, Travis Kelce, Amari Cooper, neutral site Amari was my sit of the week before I knew about that, and Devontae Adams, who continues to get it done. I mean, with Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller out, it's just literally been Devontae Adams and nobody else. 7 on 13 targets and 2 touchdowns. The last 3 weeks, he's been 2 touchdowns, 1 touchdown, 2, and has had a minimum of 13 targets a game. So that's pretty crazy. Also, these guys scored over 20. It's a pretty small list this week, but T. Higgins, start of the week, David Montgomery, Chris Olave. We have a few kickers. Brett Maher. I put him on here. I mean, they scored over 20 points. It felt deserving. Tyler Bass, a defender, Nick Bolton.
Wait, why did we put? We've had defenders in the past put 20 plus points up. We don't
Seriously?
Yeah.
Well, the 2 kickers at least. All right, Nick Bolton. Fuck you. But Brett Maher and Tyler Bass, that hasn't happened yet this year, I don't think.
No, that has not.
Christian Watson, Jamal Williams finds the end zone 3 times. Najee Harris finds the end zone twice on Spano's bench. Derrick Henry, no surprises. Josh Jacobs just squeaks at the 20.0 mark. And Mason Crosby, your defender. So sorry, I won't add that on there, even though he had 2 sacks.
Even though his name is Max. We've done this twice now.
Oh
Mason
my
Crosby
God, I
is the
did do that
kicker.
again. Oh my God. Max with 2 X's. That is unbelievable. That's twice.
I just want to go back to the stat man. Hit him again one more time.
Mason Crosby.
He really has been giving the business, and not in a good way, to Najee Harris. And Najee Harris has only had his best 2 games of the year the last 2 weeks, and had a pretty athletic looking touchdown where he jumped over a guy. So
yeah, he did.
Well,
we also have our top QBs of the week: Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Daniel Jones, Jalen Hurts, and Dak Prescott. Dak and I believe, who else was it? Somebody else was like a 10th of a point away. Justin Fields. Justin Fields scored 22.6 points and 22.62. Dak scored 22.64. So Dak sneaks in at the 5 spot. Justin Fields also should be mentioned. Those are your top 5 quarterbacks. It finally feels really, really good to have a quarterback on this list. I don't know if I've had one before this year. I've had a lot of struggles. Feels good. Joe Burrow finding the end zone 4 times. Felt good, you know?
Yeah. It's nice.
We do have some duds.
Yeah, Mo, that team sure did suck last night. They just plain sucked. I've seen teams suck before, but they were the suckiest bunch of sucks that ever sucked.
As always, we have a lot.
Just wait. I have a couple of spiels to go on.
Perfect. Well, Graham Gano, -6 points. Missing extra points left and right. CD Lamb, I heard on Fantasy Football, he used PP Lamb, I think. TJ Hawkinson. Rex Burkhead, 0.0. He wasn't a flex. That's why I put him on here. Foster Moreau, my tight end this week. Deontay Johnson.
Here it is.
Mike Williams with the ankle.
Let me go to Deontay Johnson. I've been saying this for weeks. And every single fantasy analyst and guy on Twitter talks about, oh, well, Deontay Johnson has this many targets and da, 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 da. And oh, well, his snap percentage is great. No, he's I don't give a fuck about Deontay Johnson. I've been telling people to sit him for weeks. He does nothing. So Deontay Johnson,
Thank you. Fuck you. Bye.
do not start.
Yeah, I mean, he has not been getting it done. The targets have been there, as you said, that a lot of people are mentioning. They have always been there, and they have not turned into anything. Mike Williams with the ankle. MVS recently traded for. Also on this list, Tyler Higbee, Nick Chubb, shocker. Nick Chubb, DJ Moore has been on this list plenty. Tyler Conklin, not the goose, but he only had 1 or 2 catches, I believe. Jacoby Myers, Joe Mixon with the concussion. Samaje Perine. If Joe Mixon doesn't get concussed, who knows? Even though Joe Mixon was on the field for 2 of them, I think 2 of the touchdowns that he had. Brian Robinson could not get it done against Houston. Cole Kmet recently traded for as well. Saquon Barkley with a big dud. And I believe Sam Smith have something to say about Saquon this week, I thought.
Guaranteed 25 points. Well, that was a board bet.
He got 5 points. Garrett Wilson, Greg Dulcich, Damian Pierce, Kenyon Drake. He was a start if no Gus Edwards. And Kenyon Drake came about 2 inches away from scoring a touchdown, but did not get in. So he ended up with only 7 fantasy points, I think. Terry McLaurin, Drake London, Hayden Hurst, a few. That was a nice little list of Spanos starting lineup. Dalvin Cook, Miles Sanders, David Njoku, Justin Jefferson, Tyler Boyd, Deontay Foreman.
Who was my sit of the week? Deontay Foreman.
Your sit of the week. Very nice. Very nice. Sorry, I didn't see that. AJ Brown. Weird. Back-to-back for A.J. Brown, I believe. Duds. Dalton Schultz found this list, and then Kadarius Toney with the 0.0 with the hamstring injury.
That was my start of the week, too. Kadarius Toney.
Solid. So that's a nice 0.0 there. Our quarterback's Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
I don't know if you have anything to say about this.
Well, yeah, I do. I started him in all 3 leagues.
Yeah.
I've had him in 2 of them for the majority, and then I had Geno on buying another one, and it was Goff. I had Goff in all week, and then someone dropped Kirk late, and I was like, I'm going to take Kirk. So I didn't see a ton of this game because I was working. I saw it kind of through red zone just here and there when I was able to pay attention to it. My feeling was, what the fuck are you doing, Kirk? And then after listening to some stuff and watching highlights, I don't know if you watched this game. Apparently, he just never had a chance.
Yeah, the Dallas defense was all over him the entire game. And the running game never got going. Passing game, he was getting hit as soon as he was throwing the ball. I mean, this was just the Dallas defense absolutely shutting down the Minnesota Vikings. So, I mean, Jared Goff would have only got you 4 more points just to make it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not good, but at least it makes you not have to worry about the switch up too much.
Yeah.
Taylor Heineke also. Russell Wilson, even against Las Vegas, could not get it done. That was the one time earlier in the season that he did, but could not find the end zone. Josh Allen, first time on this list, only with 12 fantasy points, and Lamar Jackson, another dud for Lamar. I don't know if this is the wide receiver. He's on IR. He hurt his foot.
Rashad Bateman. I feel ever since Rashad Bateman has gone, Lamar has not seemed to really be the same. I mean, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but yeah, I mean, I'll speak to it. They're winning games, which is what they want to do, and the problem is, if you look around at weapons, unless Lamar is going to break off a run, which teams are, playing against that, he still gets his rushing yards. Every drive is just a long, methodical drive. I mean, Mark Andrews is back out there. But like what guy, you look at all these other teams that have guys they throw it to, and either they'll have run after the catch, they go get it. I mean, this is the weapons. There's no J.K. Dobbins. There's no Gus Edwards. There's no Rashad Bateman. Mark Andrews was out for a little bit. Yeah. I don't think he was on here, but he had a really good day. The top wide receiver was Demarcus Robinson. He had 9 catches.
Right. Yeah, he was not rostered, so that's why he wasn't on there. I usually just go through our roster, so that way it's all our guys on the Soups and Tylers of the week. But yes, he was. I think he had 9 catches for 100-some yards.
The next closest person was, I think, maybe 1 or 2 catches, and it was Duvernay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Demarcus Robinson's your top option. I don't know what kind of explosive offense you're going to get out of that.
There's no denying that. I mean, I'm looking at Lamar Jackson's weeklies right now. Week 1, 22 points. Week 2, 51 points. Week 3, 40 points. And then since then, he has hit the 20-point mark 1 time. So that's 2, 4, 6, 7 weeks. And he's hit 20-point mark one time. Very strange. But the passing yards is what is the big difference when you look at these numbers. He hit over 200 every time the first 3 weeks, and he's only done that 3 times in the next 7. So that's definitely, I mean, what you're talking about, all the weapons gone, even just the offense as a whole with the running game kind of been missing without Gus Edwards. Kenyon Drake's been getting it done, but at the same time, when you're running so much, if it's not Lamar, he's not getting points for it. So it's kind of shown fantasy-wise, but they are winning games. So, yeah.
The defense is a lot better. So,
yep.
I think there's better days offensively ahead when some of these guys, at least the running backs, come back. That help free up some stuff. But right now, I mean, I just he's not gonna be a top 4 to 5 fantasy option with the guys they have out there.
Yeah,
it's just not possible.
Kidding. Yep.
All right. Well, next part we'll just go through quickly. Let's get the fantasy matchup recap. We got some finals, and I think what I'm looking at right here, about half of it is final, and half of it's we still got something to look forward to.
Yep, exactly. So first things first here, when I go to matchups, as always, mine pops up first. So I am going to be Diego. I'm at 150.5. Diego's at 92, and he still has Nick Bosa, defender, to play. So I'm going to be 8-3 now. Diego's going to drop to 5-6. Highlighted by the new and improved Joe Burrow, T. Higgins stack that I have. Those are my 2 top scorers. And Diego on the flip side, Samaje Perine, his 30.2 points just weren't enough.
And really outdoing his projection at 5.6.
Yeah. 5.6 points. I know Jackson, a lot of us are watching football together on Sunday. Jackson was really giving Diego the business for having to start Samaje Perine. So naturally he has 3 receiving touchdowns and 30 fantasy points.
Well, he rounded it back out with Rex Burkhead in the flex.
Yeah, yes. Of course. Next we have Derek.
Well, real quick, Joe, because I just want to say, I don't know how much you've listened while you've been gone, but DeAndre Swift, once again, 12 points. Unlimited touches. Did you listen to the stat blast last week? And Sam Smith did his little homework. We were calculating points per touch because DeAndre Swift doesn't play football very much, but he scores a lot.
Scores points, yeah.
He's leading the league in stat, and I think he's about like 1.4 points per touch. While goodness. Someone like a non-athlete like Najee Harris was at about like 0.45. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. DeAndre Swift, 12 points, even though 3 touchdowns went to by the way, I don't know how I feel about Jamal, because I don't think I dislike him, but
he just scores touchdowns though.
But they're not like really that impressive. If you want to know, it was
they're not
2 1-yard runs and a 4-yard run, and I would guarantee that he leads the league in rushing touchdowns. I would say almost all of them, maybe 1 or 2, all of them are within 5 yards.
I think he has I think he has 12 now, and I'd probably bet that at least 10 of them are within the 5, like you're mentioning. So, I mean, it's not like DeAndre Swift couldn't do this.
Yeah, you know? I mean, yeah.
It's just weird.
Behind a very good offensive line, by the way.
Yeah, and I don't know, when they get him involved in the goal line, it's not like we were seeing him get stuffed all the time at the goal line. When he's getting involved like he did at the end of the game, he scored with ease. So it's weird.